now that you had some time to read through that example a little bit, I just wanted the opportunity to kind of dig a little deeper and answer some of those questions at the end of it for you. So taking a look at number 1, and maybe you could help us out here. It says, why did the author of this solution choose the identity for cosine? Like, why not tangent? Why not sine? Go ahead, Bree.
Because they have the adjacent hypotenuse side.
Yeah, very good. So in this case, thank you, yeah. In this case, you know, B is our adjacent side. So we had to use cosine. If you think about it, they chose cosine for this problem because you had the hypotenuse and your angle, and you were asked to solve for the adjacent side. So when you're given your angle, which is theta, and your hypotenuse, and you have to find your adjacent side, well, if you put those 3 things together, that gives you your definition for cosine. So that's why they had to choose cosine for this particular problem. All right, question number 2. You know, scrolling up to line 13, it said multiply each side by 70 to isolate the variable b. And then they have 70 times cosine 19 degrees equals b. So in line 13, what did the author do to each side of the equation in line 10 to get the equation in line 13? What does it say, Parker?
We're just trying to find b by itself.
Yes. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, so to get b by itself, I like what you said there. I'm writing it all down. To get b by itself, we had to multiply both sides by 70. Multiply both sides by 70. Nice, nice, nice. And then that last question there, they made a pretty big leap. They're like, okay, so use a calculator to find the cosine of 19, and then all of a sudden, poof, b is 66.19. Well, there's a little more to it than just using a calculator to find cosine of 19 in order to get that b value. Like, if you were reading this for the first time ever, you would think you could type the cosine of 19 into your calculator and get the b value back out, but that's not right. So I can think of 2 things the author should have probably mentioned to make number 3 just a little bit better. Go ahead, Bree.
I think I got one of them. They should have plugged in the cosine equation with the calculator. Cosine 19.
Yes, and else.
And
Like not just cosine 19, but what should they have also multiplied by?
multiplied by 7.
Yeah. So that's the first thing I said. They should have probably tweaked that to say, hey, we're going to take 70 times the cosine of 19. The next thing's a little more obscure. So one thing would be to, like, they forgot to mention the 70. And then did anybody think of anything else that you have to think about when you use your calculator? It came up on the test a couple times. The default mode on a calculator is what? Radian is the default, yeah. So you just want to make sure your calculator's in degree mode. Like if you're writing a book for somebody to learn off of and you're telling them to use their calculator, most kids start, default mode is radian. So whenever we're working in degrees, you want to make sure your calculator's in degree mode. So they probably should have mentioned that too. Should have. All right, so again, the topic is just solving your right triangles. So example 1 kind of kicks off, again, we're doing SOHCAHTOA to find the missing side. So not the Pythagorean theorem this time around, but SOHCAHTOA. So I got to figure out what y is, and I have this 75 here. And then I also have this angle measure of 30 degrees. So if I'm standing at 30 degrees and I look all the way across, what they're telling me is I don't know my opposite side. That is a question mark. They are, however, giving me the adjacent side, the side next to my 30-degree angle. See, if you're standing at 30, that 75 is right next to it. So the trick here is going to be, if we're trying to decide between SO, CA, and TOA, we're going to choose the tangent or the TOA ratio to solve for that y. So if I know that the tangent of theta is equal to the ratio of the opposite over the adjacent, I'm going to fill in what I know and solve for what I don't. So for instance, I know that theta in this case is 30 degrees. So I'm going to rewrite that left side as the tangent of 30 degrees. The opposite side in this particular problem, we do not know. That is y. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in that opposite with y. And then the adjacent side, they actually do give you a little bit about. The adjacent side in this case is going to be 75. And then I just have to solve using my crazy good algebra skills. I would probably just put the tangent of 30 over 1. And these were problems that we could use our calculator for. I know a lot of you would just go ahead and cross multiply these, because we've basically set up a proportion that will allow us to solve for y. So we're going to do 75 times the tangent of 30 equals 1 times y. So again, I got the left side of that equal sign by multiplying these two things together. So 75 times tan 30. And then I got the right side of the equal sign by multiplying 1 times y across the diagonal there. 75 times tan 30, I just throw that in my calculator. Make sure you're in degree mode. Let's discuss. When I look at the 60-degree angle, and I'll take care of this one just to review with you a little bit. When I take a look at the 60-degree angle right here, I notice the x is right next to it. So it's in that regard, x is actually our adjacent side. 12, however, that's across from our right angle, making it the longest side on our right triangle, so that's called our hypotenuse. So if I'm trying to figure out the value of this adjacent side, and I'm given the hypotenuse, I must ask myself, is this sine, cosine, or tangent? So the first step is usually a little bit of labeling, and then a multiple choice question. So what is this, sine, cosine, or tangent? We have adjacent and we have hypotenuse. Good, Bree?
Cosine.
It is. Nicely done. Yes, so we're going to go ahead and set this up as the cosine. Oops, wrong tool, sorry. The cosine of 60 degrees. So your angle measure always goes next to your trig function. And then that's equal to the ratio of your adjacent over our hypotenuse. So x over 12. And I said yesterday, it's not such a bad idea to just kind of go ahead and place the value of that trig function over 1. Judging by your test, you did a pretty good job. I'm thinking most of you could get the cosine of 60 without even necessarily putting it in your calculator. The x coordinate at 60 degrees is a half. But if you did type it in your calculator, you get 0.5. And we're going to go ahead and set up a proportion that's going to allow us to solve for x. So if we do x times 1, that's just x. And then along the other diagonal, I have 12 times the cosine of 20. So 12 times the, I said cosine of 20, I think. I don't know what I was saying there. Cosine of 60, sorry. And yeah, we talked about that a little bit. If you type in 12 times the cosine of 60, basically you're taking 12 times a half. Half of 12 is 6. So the adjacent side is the side that we solve for there, and it's 6 units long. The long side would be 6 root 3 if you're thinking special right triangles. Okay, next little bit there. So this is now the case where we get to solve a right triangle. Whenever we solve a right triangle, it means we find out everything we know about it. So you know all the angle measures, all the trig function values, all the side lengths, all the good stuff. So this time around, though, I'm not giving you a picture of a triangle. In part one, you got to draw it. So what we have here is to think about sine and its definition. Remember that the sine of an angle is defined as the ratio of the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So in part A, it says sketch a right triangle corresponding to the trigonometric function of the acute angle theta. So I need to now sketch a right triangle. So it's going to have a right angle in it and an acute angle theta where the opposite side is 2 and the hypotenuse is 3. The hypotenuse is always the side across from your right angle, so that's pretty easy. That's going to be 3. To identify the opposite side to theta, you have to go all the way across the triangle. So if I go all the way to the opposite side of theta, I'll locate my opposite side, and that's the side that gets labeled as 2 units. The adjacent side, I don't know. I'm going to call it x. Are there any questions about how I labeled that triangle? Because that's part A done. So that's how you can use your trig ratios too, and just reviewing from the last chapter, that's how you can use your trig ratios to build your triangle. All right, so that part's done. Part B says use the Pythagorean theorem to find the third side. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to do x squared plus 2 squared equals 3 squared. I'm doing my Pythagorean theorem. And I did that, I set it up in that way because x and 2 are legs while 3 is the hypotenuse. So I just did a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if I go ahead and solve that for the missing side now, I have x squared plus 4 equals 9. I would subtract 4 from both sides. So 9 minus 4 is 5. And then don't forget to get rid of that squared, use square root. So in this case, our missing side is actually the square root of 5. And keep in mind what we found there, that guy right there is now the square root of 5, and it's actually my adjacent side to theta. And so now we can do what we did on our homework last night. You can identify all 6 trig function values. What's nice is the first one they gave to us. It's in our given. The sine of theta, it's up here. They told us it's 2/3. So that's kind of nice. Whoops. That's not too bad at all. So sine is 2/3. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Our adjacent side was the square root of 5. And the hypotenuse is 3. And then tangent, that's our opposite over our adjacent. Our opposite side was 2. And our adjacent side is the square root of 5. What is a touch bit annoying about that is that we can't have a square root in the bottom of a fraction. So you do want to multiply the top and bottom by root 5. So this is going to be 2 square roots of 5 over 5. To get the other column, remember that cosecant is just the reciprocal of sine, so I can just flip that. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So when I go to flip that, I'm like, oh man, I got the square root on the bottom again, so I would rationalize that denominator. Multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 5. So we get 3 root 5 over 5. And then lastly, kind of yesterday we talked about a shortcut. If I want to find cotangent without rationalizing, I could just flip that first value I found. So if I flip 2 over the square root of 5, little shortcut there, that's just the square root of 5 over 2. So instead of doing opposite over adjacent, I did adjacent over opposite. That way I didn't have to rationalize, just took a shortcut. And in part D, now, this is where you're going to want to grab your calculator. You're going to use your calculator to find theta in degrees. Decimals are possible and likely. Thank you for digging out your calculators. When you do this, remember that we only have 3 buttons to choose from on our calculator. The 3 buttons we have to choose from on our calculator are sine, cosine, and tangent. So you can pick any one of those 3 to work with. Any one of those 3 equations will allow you to solve for theta. Me personally, I'm going to go with this just because there are less decimals involved. It's just a little easier. So I'm going to grab that sine theta equals 2/3, and I'm going to go ahead and review with you how to figure out what theta is. So the sine of theta equals 2/3. I'm basically just grabbing our given. And what I'm trying to remind you about how to do is how to get theta by itself. So to solve for theta, to get the theta by itself, you might remember we had to take the sine, whoops, dang it, I keep doing that today, sorry guys. You have to take the sine inverse of both sides. So the sine inverse undoes the sine. But what you do to one side of an equal sign, you must also do to the other. So we got a sine inverse 2/3. Again, making sure you're in degree mode. So I would just grab my calculator. I'm going to press second and sine, and then I'll see that sine to the negative first come up. And then 2 divided by 3 is what I'm putting in parentheses. I didn't take my own advice. I left my calculator in radian mode. That's funny. Yeah, so I got about 41.8 degrees for my value of theta. And this makes sense because it's acute. So we've literally figured out everything about that one triangle. How cool is that? I gave you one fun fact. I told you sine was 2/3. You figured out the missing side. We could even figure out that third angle because angles in a right triangle have to add up to 180. The acute angles have to add up to 90. I mean, so much we're able to figure out with just one fun fact. That's a really powerful tool. Super helpful. Just a reminder on this next one here, remember that you could put anything you want over 1, if that helps. And then cotangent, you know, if tangent is opposite over adjacent, this guy's going to be adjacent over opposite. So your adjacent side to your theta is going to be 5, while your opposite side is going to be 1. Take a second, check your independent practice. You got these right, you're crushing the chapter so far.